Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Monday night, 8 p.m. can mean only one thing. The Online Darts Live Lounge returns for episode 243. And we are back in our usual spot because of the Euro Tour last week. Back on a Monday, back where we belong. And there is plenty to talk about. But first of all, as always, I am joined by Dan Simpson and Jonathan. Gentlemen, good evening.
How are we doing?
Hello there.
All right.
Sorry a bit late. I would normally like to have a chat with you boys, but life's been a bit hectic. So another new spot for the live lounge this week.
I haven't had a floor for the last 2 weeks. I've got a floor now though. I'm very pleased with it.
You finally moved all your shit off it. You've actually
tidy
up.
You're all a bit aware of the amount of renovations going on in our house. I said to Phil just before we came on, there is literally about 2 meters square of normality, which is where I'm currently sat. Everything behind that is just building materials stacked high. There's timber all over them. It's a circus, but yeah, it's all right. I've been off work. It's magnificent. Like I've had 2 weeks off work until about 15 minutes ago. I had an enormous beard because I'd not bothered to have a shave the whole time.
Bushy beard.
Yeah, we're living the dream. How's everything down there, Philip?
Yeah, it's all right. The Costa del South of the UK is always nice. Premier League was local for a change, so we like that.
Can you believe that Philip would ever cause controversy like he did today? Philip's caused controversy according to YouTube and everywhere else today. I think we'll have to address it in a minute, won't we?
As long as all of the other media outlets are crediting Online Darts, and I think that's absolutely fine, Charlotte. And for those that aren't, there's a little reminder of where that interview came from and where you should be directing your links and clicks to.
Yes.
Good talk here at Online Darts.
Yes.
It's been a funny day. We'll talk on it a bit later on. But yeah, look, there's always plenty going on. The Premier League is now in full swing. That the O2 is on the horizon. The European Tour again. We're now talking about targets for Dortmund. The match play. You can see the beloved Blackpool Tower just twinkling on the horizon now. We're talking about cut-offs for that because there's Pro Tours on. It is all good at the moment.
Yeah, like we're starting to get to the sort of business end a little bit of the year soon, aren't we? And that'll be nice, won't it? Well, towards the end.
You shouldn't wish your life away, should you? But like we do constantly. Well, we know once the match play comes and we get that glorious week in Blackpool that we're looking, directly we just look to the match play. And once the match play happens, that's when it's thick and fast. That's when the distance and time between big major TV tournaments gets very, very small and it just keeps coming and coming. So yeah, very, very exciting time, but interesting that, there remains some big questions in that run up to the match play, some big names that aren't going at the minute and might not be going. So yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah, 100%. Let's dive into the chat room. Kate is in. Dal, how we doing? Owen, Kieran, Shelty, how we doing? Malachi, of course, how we doing, buddy? Dave, saw plenty of you this afternoon, my friend. How we doing, Warren? Mark, how do, mate? Chris is in. Rob, we're back again, mate. We're back again. James is in. Joel, how we doing? James, Nels, how's it going? Darts Fan Ireland, Joel. I'll tell you what, it's rammed already. Double top, how we going? This chat room is rammed already. How we doing, Phil? Hope you are good. Rob, yeah, it's nice and busy, which is always good.
All these people chatting about some football match that's on at the moment. This is a dart show.
Leave the one up. I've got it on.
It's a dart show. It's a dart show. Just remind ourselves.
It's busy in the chat room though tonight. You must have organized. They haven't come. The chat room isn't this busy for us three. You must have a guest up your sleeve, have you, Philip?
Well, yes. Like always, it's what we do, and I can see our guest has joined us. So on the other side of this. We are joined by the one and only Miss Polly James. Polly, how are we doing?
Hi, guys.
You. Amazing to have you with us.
How are we doing? You good?
You've missed the mug, Phil.
Stand up if you
I
love
love
the darts. Is that the Premier League lineup of like 2021? Was it?
Possibly 2019, maybe. Gary's on the back. James Wade as well.
Oh, Gary.
James and Gary in the Premier League. Christ, we are going back.
19, yeah, 19, isn't it?
Was that, yeah, Wade is there as well. Jesus wept. I thought it was Joe Cullen I saw as well. What was that? Sorry, Peter. Polly?
Are you guys okay? You all well?
Well, how can we complain? We've got the wonderful Polly James with us. We saw you a number of occasions in the last time I think I saw you was Minehead, I think. Was it Minehead?
It was. Yeah, we were in the
Yeah, we saw you in the multi-board room, didn't we? When we were down there, yeah.
Was I trying to get you for a bit of content for Ladbrokes or something? Some silly content.
No, that's not. We would be used for that, would we? That's not our
Actually,
sort of
that weekend we weren't much use to anybody for anything. That's our non-doing things for darts weekend. That is our one weekend of the year where we're not working filming anything, interviewing anyone. That is just us enjoying being darts fans. So we were no use to anyone.
Yeah, you were just on a jolly, loving it. It was good though, wasn't it? In that multi-board arena. I've never seen any darts being played in the multi-board arena before, and I absolutely loved it.
But do you think
the multi-board room's
like,
unbelievable?
I was just going to say, do you think that room in particular? What did you think of the setup? Because obviously it used to be in the old venue. It used to be up in centre stage. And everybody was a bit two-faced about it, going, I don't know, I'm not sure, and all the rest of it. I thought it worked pretty well, but I don't know whether maybe next year that it might be easy to do it in like a sort of a horseshoe sort of way, like it was for the olden days of the UK Open. I think that could work really well.
I mean, to be fair, I hadn't. When I had gone to Butlins before and seen the darts, I was always kind of, in that main hall, sort of in the big tops. So I hadn't seen what it was like before, but what I did see, I loved it. There was just pockets of fans everywhere. And it's obviously in this like big barn. It was big enough to hold everyone. But I loved it. I thought it was like the place to be. It was like a little hidden gem because you kind of get all the, and actually, like you see all the great players on the main stage or the sort of top 10 or whatever, top 16. But, we had our fair share of top 16 players as well on the outer board. So I thought it was brilliant.
The only thing I remember about that particular moment, that Saturday afternoon, Polly, was the fact that you had, was it Cam who was shouting Martin Lukeman in the back of your interview? It might have been. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe because you are literally doing interviews with the players, with the fans, kind of like right next to you.
So. Literally a foot away, wasn't it? It was so tight, so close. Which for the fans is brilliant. I think the UK Open is just so unique because like the match play is amazing. Like match play is superb, gorgeous venue. But you go and you feel so far away from the players and the action and what's going on. But at the UK Open, you can literally be, you're a meter away from the hockey watching. Some incredible, and it is in that multi-board room. Some of the best players in the world, some huge names in there this year. Very cool.
I remember when Ryan Searle was playing in there, and bless him, he's like the most kind of reserved, like shy person. And then you had like a bunch of like Ryan Searle groupies, like shouting out to him, making him feel super uncomfortable. Like, we love you, Ryan. We love your hair. You're so beautiful. And I'm just you look so hot, Ryan. I was like, oh, no.
That's amazing.
And honestly, these players, you can hear everything. So yeah, a bit of an alternative commentary for the players, definitely in the multi-board room.
Lovely. Love that.
Is there like a huge? Well, I know I'm
just going off that. I think we should have on Sky Polly James.
Oh, go on. But I think Barzy's having a bit of a problem here. I think Barzy's Wi-Fi is having a bit of a nightmare.
I know I'm in Wales, but I feel like there's such a massive delay. Like, what's going on? Unless it is Bars.
Yeah, it is. I think Barzy's having a bit of a nightmare.
It's me. You three chat amongst yourselves, and I'll sort of...
Okay, right, we'll do that. That's absolutely fine. No, so Paul. First off, I think the big question is obviously we've seen you a lot more now on Sky, richly deserved. And also, obviously, with BBC TV team as well. What happened? But how did you get into darts as a whole? Because obviously we know you've been a huge darts fan for a number of years. We've heard you on Radio X. We've heard you on your old shows on Capital back in the day when Capital was still localized. So what made you get into the darts?
Well, to be fair, I mean, I used to watch darts with the family at Christmas back when I was very young. So it was, but I mean, we're talking, super low key, very casual fans, and it would come on and would just watch it all just because there was only like 5 channels back in the day when I was younger. So when it was on telly, it was just like one of the 5 things to watch anyway. But when I got with the guy that I was with now, about sort of 20 years ago, maybe a couple of years in, I knew he always enjoyed darts, but a couple of years into our relationship, he was like, let's go to the darts once and for all. Let's go and check it out and go live. So my first time at Ali Pali was like 2010 to 2011. It was the year that that Adrian Lewis won, and I think it was
2011.
So my birthday's 27th of December. So it's like it became a ritual then. So it was like, right, let's go to Ali Pali for my birthday. So as soon as I went to Ali Pali, it was like I had the bug, and I kind of was like, it was the one thing that I liked to talk about. And I felt that it was different because obviously at that time I was coming off Absolute Radio, going on to Capital Radio. And if anyone who knows what Capital is, it's like, it's a hit music station. So, back then you would kind of talk about, all that, the pop culture, whereas I was very much into my rock music. I liked to go into the darts. I was like a little bit different. So I kind of like that. So I used to talk about it on my social media, and never in a million years did I ever think I'd cross over and start working for it. It just so happened that I was being a little bit, I suppose, vocal, a bit /mouthy online about, watching it, just giving my commentary online and just how much I loved it. That it was actually back in 2019, 2018. And I remember, Bars, you were there when I started working for Unibet, because I did do a lot of sort of interviewing, if you like, maybe more like Q&As, like Q&A nights, like hosting. With sports stars, and pretty big sports stars, like AJ would come to Cardiff, Tyson Fury, for example, and you'd interview them. And I remember a guy from Unibet, Jack, was like, do you want to do some post-match interviews for the Premier League? And I was kind of a bit like, oh God, do I sort of combine my, my love for darts and throw work into it? Because I kind of loved being a commentator so much, like just from my living room, do I mix pleasure with work? I wasn't sure, but then, I say yes to everything, and that's what happened. So yeah, I started working from there, and then COVID hit, and then Sky needed a reporter sort of back in 2021. So it'd be like 5 years that I've been working on Sky now, and it's just snowballed, and the sport itself has gotten bigger and bigger, and there's more opportunities, and hence why I'm here now talking to you guys.
Is there like a standout moment? Because obviously it hasn't been, it's not been 10, 20 years of you just being sort of within that, or really close to that darts environment and seeing it grow. You've been part of that really rapid, quick acceleration of darts into the, or sort of outside of darts into the rest of the world. Is there a moment that stands out, like a sort of pinch me, where you've either done something, interviewed someone, or you've been in a situation very close to it, and you've thought, how did I end up here? This is amazing.
Oh, loads of times. Like, as in, like, I to this day get imposter syndrome everywhere I go, Dan. So I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, is this real? There's loads of times. Like my motto in darts now, as it kind of has with radio, being very just stay humble and stay hungry. So in that, I always sort of, when I'm in these environments, or when I'm about to have these experiences or opportunities, I'm like, right, staying humble makes me work harder and makes me grateful for this opportunity. But, staying hungry makes me sort of try and do my best and make sure that, I'm at the standards of my peers, that type of thing. So, but as you say, I mean, there's been so many, like at the World, just watching, you know, back in 2010 to actually being on the stage then at a final. Like this year, I had the opportunity to report on the final, and I was like, this is mad. Like I've got no business being on this stage right now. What am I doing, you know? But you know, I you know, without sort of being too humble, if I can say, you know, I have worked hard, and you know, I've had to wait for my chance, and you know, I just hope that I do the role justice, basically.
We're big fans.
Yeah,
like we think you do a cracking job. So
yeah, absolutely bang on. Like again, it's not just because you joined us here, Paul. We've said it for a long time, but you're absolutely outstanding. And I've told you that on a number of occasions when I've had the privilege of sharing a press room with you. What I want to go on and talk about it a little bit, because obviously you've been working with the PDC TV, the Matchroom broadcast, a fair bit, as well as the Sky one in the last couple of months. Is there a massive difference, do you think? Do you think that maybe, I don't know, that people are trying to still find their feet a little bit with the Matchroom broadcast, because obviously they've taken it on in-house, and Sky have obviously had 30 years of broadcasting darts to an outstanding standard. What have you noticed different? Because it seems like now, beforehand at least, the ITV coverage beforehand, lots of people said was a little bit below the Sky product, but now it seems that the two are seemingly synergizing a lot, and we're getting better quality as viewers.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so funny. Like, it's really hard to kind of sum up my role to someone, because I'm in the thick of it, but then I'm also kind of on the outside of it as well, if that makes sense. I know what I have to do. I know what my role is. I know what my responsibility is. And sometimes you're not really part of, you know, the presenting team, because you're doing loads of things outside of that. Like, you know, you've got your times that the players are going to be there, etc. You work you work very, very closely with the PDC. So I say the PDC as in not Matchroom. So we'll keep those separate now. So like PDC is, you know, they work with Sky, and then you've got Matchroom who are broadcasting on ITV. Then you've got Sky, obviously. But I work with a guy a lot called Josh Phillips from the PDC, and basically I kind of liaise with him no matter what tournament, no matter who I'm working for. So whether that's Sky or Matchroom. Because at the end of the day, like, for example, Matchroom might say to me, you know, during the UK Open or at the Masters that I was at, that was my first one for Matchroom, they might say, right, we want these pre-match interviews, and, you know, if you can liaise with the producer that we got for you, but also with Josh. And that's the same with Sky, really. So to be totally honest, you know, I don't see too much of a difference, to be honest. And, you know, like when I'm doing a post-match interview, they're just like, you know, either get on the stage at this point, or, you know, there's not too much direction that I get from the producers, if that makes sense. But I kind of know what I'm doing now, you know. But I've got to say, I loved working for Matchroom, because I never worked for, or I'd never been to the Winmore Masters before, and likewise I'd never done that qualifying day, and that was the first time that I had seen a pro event. So it's like a floor event, which is like a pro event, obviously, a pro tour event. I absolutely adored it, because I thought that was like watching darts at its purest form, where obviously most darts is played. Like, we're very lucky to be able to be at all these majors that not, you know, a majority of the players who are pro tour card holders don't get to see. So that was amazing to see that. And then obviously, as I said before, you know, being in the multi-board arena, like, I wouldn't have been able to experience that if it wasn't for Matchroom. So yeah, it's been incredible on both sides. Obviously Sky is just, you know, I just think they set the standard, obviously, and they've just been brilliant to work for. I feel very, very lucky, very privileged.
I think as well, a big thing for me is that obviously it's not just the darts now, because obviously you last week were very busy on Easter Sunday with the boxing, if memory serves me correctly. I was watching the boxing and saw your wonderful face on there. So what was that like, working in the boxing arena as well for the first time?
Yeah, no. So I've been working with Sky Sports Boxing on a couple of occasions. Phil saw me on there as well, and he was fangirling over Shannon Courtney. Well, we both were, to be totally honest.
Justifiably.
Sorry, I had to drop that in there. No, the girls were incredible. I love one-to-one like sport. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I think I love the darts. Like that's why I love boxing. Do you know, you're competing against yourself essentially, that type of thing. But or one-to-one opponents. But yeah, boxing I've always had a big passion for. So when Sky asked me to do it, you've got to remember that Sky Sports, the sort of department is multi-sports. So you've got the darts, and you've got like netball, you've got tennis, and you've also got boxing. So, I don't do football. I would never venture into football. That is not my bag. But I do know a bit about boxing, and I am undefeated, 1-0, white collar boxing. So I can say.
I'm trying to get a darts themed one off the ground. There's got to be enough people that don't get on in darts. Like a darts themed white collar boxing event,
like a Misfits darts boxing.
Yeah.
Surely Luke and Hyan are the first people up, right?
I think I see. Yeah, right across the board. Yeah, let's think. We could have there could be players. There's definitely some managers. There's definitely some managers that would fancy a go. Like there's all of darts Twitter could have some sort of Royal Rumble. I think with a lot of them in there. I think. I think a darts themed Misfits boxing would be great.
Oh, well, I mean, I would love it. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Sorry, Polly, I was just going to say, Polly James's #1 fan is on socials here tonight and on the YouTube stream, and he says there, does she want to see Gezi box Jake Paul? There you go. That would be what
this is the sort of thing we want. This is it.
I think it would end very badly for Gezi if you fought Jake Paul. Look, it's just I've got to say I'm not a massive fan of these. Like Tommy Fury is fighting that world's strongest man or something. Like I just find
he's fighting Eddie Hall, isn't he? And in a very, very silly. I mean, it's not boxing, is it? It's just.
I've got to say, no, exactly. It's not, is it? I'm not quite sure how these fights are sanctioned anyway, because for some reason it feels quite dangerous. Anyway, but
boxing isn't bent, Polly. Boxing isn't bent, as we know. There's no brown envelopes involved in boxing.
Bare knuckle and have it in the back of a pub somewhere and just go all. Why not?
I tell you what. If you wanted to go, if you stick around at Minehead long enough after the darts, I'm sure you'll be able to sanction a few of them there. To be brutally honest.
No, I mean, why not? I love entertainment. At the end of the day, box office stuff. Bring it on. Pay-per-view. Let's go.
I think going back to the dart side of things, if I may, Paul, is that like you're one of those people that have just had that sort of amazing rise in the game. Like obviously yourself, Abby Davis as well, obviously Emma. Like we look at the females in particular that are working on the Sky Sports broadcast, obviously as well. You look at the likes of back in the day as well. Who was it? Mickey Austin, who did a lot of stuff as well. And we're seeing a lot more. Obviously, of course, Laura as well, who is an outstanding pundit and commentator. She's really learned her craft in particular. So, is it great for you as well now that like there's so many chances as well for women to get into a sport which, let's be honest about it, has been really dominated by men. So, is it great that there's opportunities now for women like yourself, like Emma? Obviously, I think most people will admit will happily say is the best presenter right now in darts, and I don't think it's particularly close. But do you get what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's brilliant. I've got to say, for the women who've come before me, it's actually I've never felt held back because of my gender in broadcasting, and I've always been, I've always said to people who have been coming in, if they ever need advice or whatever, if I'm, if they want to ask advice, I always say, don't feel worried about that, because I firmly believe that there is more than just one seat at the table for women, and there is, especially now with darts. I mean, like there are so many opportunities, and I feel like there's so many opportunities now within darts that can be shared amongst different personalities in darts. And I'm not calling myself a personality, but obviously I'm known within darts. Like, for example, I've just signed a deal. It sounds a bit wanky now, but I've just signed a deal with Red Dragon Darts. And like, you'd argue 3 years ago, I've got no business in being a darts reporter signing with a darts manufacturer, but these opportunities are opening up now for personalities who are in darts. But, I've got to say, like, I'm so lucky, like within radio and in darts, to be working with these women, like you said about Emma, like working alongside Emma has been genuinely inspiring, because I don't see myself as a sports broadcaster. I'm a radio DJ who managed to just squeak into the dance world somehow, and I'm just riding this wave. I don't know, but she is an incredibly accomplished presenter, worked her way up from writing scripts at Sky Sports, making tea, to being like the superstar that we all call her now. Always so well researched, always so prepared. She's got this real depth of knowledge that just comes through in everything she does. And on set for, the days that we go live, she's so calm, she's sharp, she's always in complete control, no matter what is happening, and so articulate as well. And people don't realize that Emma does not have any auto cue at all. Like there is no one in her ear talking. Which is just so mad, because genuinely that is like such a skill. I'm asking questions, and these, generally I'll plan quite meticulously, but Emma is just, what a pro. And she just has that natural warmth as well. She brings that to her role, and I think that's why people love watching her at the end of the day. And likewise, she lifts up everyone around her on set as well. So it's awe-inspiring to watch her, and now she's a really good friend as well. So it's a privilege to hang out with these people, and Wayne as well, and just to like learn off them. Not that I want to be a presenter. I'm very happy in my lane as a reporter, but just to see these people work and to watch them, like it's incredible.
On that part, on your reporting and crossing it between boxing and darts, we touched on Littler earlier. Now, we've had the block between Littler and Van Veen recently, which is creating headlines and stories. You get that in boxing all the time. Every fight, there is a narrative behind. And I don't think people quite understand this in the darting world. And they're going, oh, it's rubbish. It's like, how easy, and I try and tell this, as an outlet, it's easier to tell the stories and tell the narratives. And as a reporter, is it the same? To get lines and get not a script, but get answers out of players when there's something other than, oh yeah, he's playing quite well. Do you know what I mean? That storytelling is huge in sport.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay, if we're talking about why I had no problem with the Littler and Hyan situation, I think that's because I do love boxing so much, and that was tame as anything compared to what we see in boxing. But like, look, at the end of the day, not everything on stage is meant to be polite or toned down. Let's say, like on the hockey, it would make my job very, very boring indeed. Like that. But look, sport, and in particular, like darts, for example, it is emotional. Like when Littler shows that fire, he's not being disrespectful. He's showing just how much that matters to him and how much he wants to win. That intensity is passion. It's not arrogance.
Well, this is the thing, right? I was just going to come in and say, this is good. I was going to talk about this later, because obviously we've had the Littler interview. I do think there's a thing where the British public don't like winners. They love to have this underdog mentality. They love to have this moment of trying to build a sports person up, but the minute they think people get too big or that they win too much, they just want to drag them down. And I'm not being funny when I say this. Lou Littler has done more for the game of darts than anybody else in this, anybody else in the world. I'd probably go out on a limb and say here. And people, I think, are just waiting for a moment where they can have a pop at him. And I do. And I do think there's a jealousy element here. I really do, because he's a 19-year-old kid who's earned himself already over £5 million. Like, what's he going to do when he's like 25? He's going to be about 15 million quid.
I think it's undersold as well how much he's earned everybody else. Because let's be brutally honest, a lot of the money that's come into darts, the extra money that's been generated from sponsors and from the rights being sold for broadcast, and like that increase in prize money, I am firmly of the belief that without Luke Littler coming to the sport of darts and winning a world title, I don't think we're at that £1 million world championship figure yet. Like he's put food on everybody's table, hasn't he?
And because, when he won the £1 million, I didn't want to say this on stage to him because I was like, oh God, I'm going to get like shit for it or whatever. But it just, I kind of wanted to maybe relay to him in a way that didn't disrespect anyone else, but say like, isn't it really fitting that you've won the 1 million because it's kind of all down to you,
Yeah, you put it in the pot to start with, didn't he? Like,
yeah.
That's
100%. Right, when Littler's first World Championship, when he got to the final, came at the worst time for Sky Sports because everyone knows the deal was up for negotiation for the following year, and if Luke Littler doesn't happen, there is no way Barry gets that fee that he wants because of the viewing figures that he put and so on. That there's no way it goes for 100 and whatever million the final figure was for 5 years if Luke doesn't do what he did 3 World Championships ago. Not a chance.
Yeah. I watched the interview that you did with with Luke today, Bars, and it does sound like it was all a bit of a misunderstanding. But I mean, who knows? I'm not judging anyone. I'm when that happened, I'm like, I'm getting the popcorn out and I'm loving this bit of needle, obviously. Yeah. But I think if you're getting offended by Luke's behaviour on stage, when he shows that bit of fire in him, that's exactly what makes Luke Littler so compelling to all of us. And do you know what? It's also, I think, worth remembering that confidence can look different depending on who's watching. So like some people can see swagger and they immediately think attitude, and then others see it as like, self-belief or presence. But I think with Littler, most of that energy comes from, him being young, him being fearless and just fully in the moment, I guess. But look, generally, 2 of my favorite players to watch now, and I get asked this question all the time, oh, who's your favorite to watch? And I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out when I say Littler, or they're going to be like, oh, you're such a fangirl. But it's like, I am a fangirl. But, 2 of my favorite players to watch are Luke and Jan. So, look, it's hard to say anything bad about what happened. As I said, it looks like it was all a bit of a misunderstanding between the boys. But, sport would be a lot less interesting if every player acted the same. A bit of edge is what makes personality stand out at the end of the day.
I think when you were talking earlier, Polly, about sports where individuals compete against each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, a lot of those situations where it gets dragged out of proportion and those misunderstandings happen. Because like if you watch a football match and think how many times over the course of 90 minutes that 2 blokes end up nose to nose and other people are pulling, it's like it's every single game people are going, and that's just accepted as well. If people are just competing, they're competitive, they want to win, that's their mindset is. And I think sometimes when it's individual sports and it's 2 people that are really trying to compete, it gets misconstrued into what it isn't really, which is just competitive people, isn't it? Trying to win.
For sure. Just 2 people trying to win. And I think, if you were to watch any other sport where it's kind of one-on-one, you'd realize that, darts actually is as intense, as is emotional as some other sports that you see with, which is one-on-one as well. So, but I mean, like, it's hard for me to comment on that because I love it. I'm not about to be like, oh, I think that was like bad news on both sides, like shouldn't have happened. I'm with you. I thought it was like proper box office. Long may it continue. I think obviously they're both young. Littler's young. He might not want to do that in the future. He might want to chill out and keep a lid on it. But for the sport, I think it's epic. I love it.
Simple fact is that I'm not being funny. I was just going to say we could generally see Littler versus Van Veen for the next 15 World Championship finals, and we wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that Luke Humphries won't be there or thereabouts either, but my point is that if it is Littler versus Van Veen for the next 10, 15 World Championship finals, I wouldn't be like, I'd probably be like, okay, I can see it, 100%.
How lucky to have like a world champion and world number 1 in Luke Littler who has got a bit of personality, who does give it some, who does make us want to switch on the telly and watch,
Absolutely.
Totally agreed. And that's the key, Polly. You said there, makes us want to switch the telly on. Whether you want him to win, whether you want him to lose, you still want to switch that telly on to see what happens. And that's the narrative. And I don't know if are you working on the boxing this weekend? Ben Whittaker does exactly the same, splits opinion. Whether you like him, whether you don't, you're going to switch on to see whether he chins someone or he gets chinned himself.
Exactly. You've got to tune in and cross your fingers, aren't you? And think, hopefully, someone lands one on him.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the key. It's sport. It's what grows sport. And look, I know, Polly, this game got you in trouble back in the day, but we still talk about that Grand Prix final, to a Grand Slam final to this day.
Knew you'd bring that.
But what I'm saying is, we still talk about that final to this day. It is still the most spoken about darts match in history. We're not talking about a world final. We're not talking about a match play final. That still gets talked about to this day because of what happened.
Yeah, and I think it's had like the biggest long-term effect on Kessie as well. Like that final.
Yep.
Like how he plays. By the way, because Phil mentioned it, I tweeted that Gary threw his toys up.
Well, I didn't bring it up. I just said trouble.
And Phil likes to mention it all the time.
You took the Welsh side, did you? Took the Welsh side.
By the way, we do this all the time at PDC events, and the looks we got off people was hilarious.
By the way, that was when I was a bit mouthy, and mouthy and didn't realise, that I'd be working one day. But I feel like me and Gary are okay now, and he, I was just.
You're fine. You're fine now. It's all good.
I think it's dead ironic because we spend a good 4, 5, maybe 6 months of the year constantly circling on who will be the picks for the Premier League, who's going to be in. And whilst no one's ever come out and said this is the criteria beyond the top 4, we sort of know what they're looking for. And we know there are certain players that are more likely to be in than others, regardless of how well they play. But I think, well, if you have this narrative where that player hasn't got enough personality, that player's too boring, that player's, but then you can't moan when surely they're delivering exactly what this is. Is this not why you want those people in the Premier League? Otherwise, you just look and say, well, who's got the best mean average over the course of the last 12 months? Those 8, right, in you go. Like it's not that. Surely the intent is to create moments like this. You can't moan about it when you get what you want.
No, exactly. I know that, for me as a reporter, I was gagging to speak to Jan afterwards, and I would love to have spoken to Littler, but obviously, you don't speak to the losers. That sounds awful. You don't speak to the losers afterwards. But but that's what I get a buzz off. That's why I love doing this thing. Because I never want to lose sight of what it's like to be a fan, and I know in those moments, people at home are going to be wanting to know, what is Jan thinking? Like, what the hell just happened from his point of view? And that's my responsibility then to kind of deliver that to the viewer.
100%.
And it's a nonsense question that I like to keep for people that come on that aren't dart players. But like, as a fan, like, are you an owner of a dartboard that's on the wall? Do you throw a dart? Have you dabbled with it, throwing a dart? And if so, how did it go?
Right, I do have a dartboard. So back in the day, when I was on sorry, this might be a bit of a long story. So back in the day, my greatest moment on Capital Breakfast, which, as I mentioned before, was it's like a hit music station. They play all pop music, like the chart music. My biggest, proudest moment on there was bringing the darts to Capital Breakfast, and everyone was like, "Ooh, so boring!" Like Pubman game, that type of thing, And I was like, no, honestly, I think it must have been like, I'm going to say 2017, and the Champions League was in Cardiff. It was one of those, or maybe it was like a Premier League night. Anyway, so I took it upon myself to get in touch with Adam from the PDC, who was kind of looking after, booking guests and stuff. And obviously, like back then, it wasn't as huge as it was now because they're off the clock busy right now. But back then they were like, oh, Capital Breakfast in Cardiff with like a dart player on the show. So we got Michael Van Gerwen on, and I was like, this is amazing. We played darts together, and he signed my first ever dartboard that I got.
Wow.
So I've got that one. I've also had a couple of others like throughout the years, but I've got a nice little dart setup. It's in my kids' playroom, and we've got the big dartboard at I think it's a Blade 6 maybe. It's Blade 6, and then we've got the little nuke magnetic one underneath for the kids.
I love that.
My other half loves playing, and also, so as Bars knows, I do a lot of the Modus and MDA exhibitions. So one time, I can't remember when it was, but it was last year. So I was just having a chat with the players, and Luke Humphrey said I had a pretty good throw and technique, and I was like,
high praise indeed.
Very high praise.
And then the others just fly fucking everywhere. So,
and to be fair, you've just given us my clip for social because I can edit it at just the right point. Polly James, Luke Humphrey says I've got a pretty good cut it and fill in the blank.
Yeah, flies fucking everywhere.
Like darts is insane. I've never I've hit a treble 20. But I can't follow up. And I just feel like a 180 for me is just so far fucking away. It's unbelievable.
Don't worry. That's me as well, Paul.
Yeah.
I still think you'd probably absolutely hammer me on the board, to be fair. So
yeah, Jarlath was banned when we set up, and this was really dangerous. So when we saw you in Minehead quite recently, we had a board set up in our apartment. But because of the ridiculous shape of the apartments, the only space we had the slope side. What's it called, Philip? You'll know.
The Winmore Vertex.
So it stands on the floor that prop it up, and the only place we could get an hockey was to prop it up on the patio door, like the glass patio door on the window.
Oh
so we spent the weekend with the dartboard on a glass door. And Giles, I don't think you were allowed to throw a dart at all.
No. I was probably told no. You are nowhere near
very
that.
much trying to protect our insurance bond.
Yes, correct.
To be fair, they went as far as to get DRA suspension, so Jar couldn't take any part in any darting events that weekend.
He's not
I've got a lifetime ban. I've got a lifetime ban for Butlins at darting events, 100%. So for multiple reasons, to be fair, that weekend, Daniel.
I actually got banned from Butlins as well back in the day. So yeah, which another full. You know, when you asked about the pinch me moments, well, actually walking back into mine after being banned for like dressed up as Where's Wally and climbing on the top of the chalets.
Yes.
So I got that. So yeah, and then walking back in sort of but behind the scenes was pretty cool. But yeah, I love Butlins so much. It is one of my favorites. Ali Pally. Darts fans are going to hate me, but I'm going to put Minehead ahead of Winter Gardens.
Whoa, that's a big claim. I'm here for it, Paul.
Just for the fun element and sorry, Bars. Sorry, Dan.
There's nothing fun in that.
No, for me, the two have to exist so that I always say my two favorite things in the year, the two like non-negotiables. Like I will take time off my grown-ups job and come and spend time at darts events. And the two that I will not miss is I will not miss a trip to Minehead, and I will not miss the Winter Gardens. And I would give up everything else just to keep those two. And I think they have to exist in harmony because they're so very different. They're so unlike. They're so unlike each other that you can have them. You can have them both.
Yeah, actually, they're not in the same category. So I'll backtrack a little bit if that's all right.
I'll say this, Paul. I'll say this before Bars comes in. I'd move from Ali Pally tomorrow. You know that.
Yeah,
anyway,
keep Alexandra Palace. Yeah, move it out.
I'd move it away from Ali Pally tomorrow. I'll move it to the XL, 100%, because I just don't think even with the great
special for me. I
get that.
But that's the thing. That's selfish for me because I love it there. But you know, I'd go wherever it takes us. Hey, do you know what? I went to the Circus Tavern on the weekend. And
Wow.
I could not believe it. So I was like walking around Brighton and I was saying to everyone, guys, I'm like being such a darts geek right now. But I was like walking around like saying, I'm going to like the Circus Tavern, you know, like the original mecca of pro darts. Like, this is going to be so awesome. And they were just like, okay, I don't think, you can tell you've never been there before because it was like, and in all due respect, I know it was iconic back in its day, but it's literally
It's
It's iconic for different reasons now.
Yeah,
with
it's a
a
shithole.
club at the top. So,
Yes.
I'm obsessed with the. I'm absolutely
Club.
obsessed with the dead boring the carpet in that place up there. It's like I don't know where you get one of them. Where would one go to
they've changed it. They've upgraded it. They put new carpet in. They said,
upstairs?
Wow.
yeah. What, in the strip club?
Oh, yeah.
Did
Oh,
you go
yeah.
in it, Paul?
It's totally upgraded.
Yeah, she's Polly by day, Crystal by night.
How do you remember the carpet in a strip club, Dan?
It wasn't. There was nobody working when I was in there. I was interviewing Steve Beaton.
You know what? Hang on. That's the perfect bombshell. Steve Beaton at a strip club.
Oh yeah, I was interviewing Steve Beaton.
He is darts as Mr. Sex after all,
It's
as we
an
know.
anticlimax, isn't it, to say the least? Having to spending a few days in a strip club, and as Steve Beaton and John Part, I ended up just sat talking to in there with them.
Oh God!
Yeah,
There
nobody was working.
I have to say, it did feel a bit special in there, knowing that there was so many actually not many, because I mean it was mainly Phil Taylor, wasn't it, who won there? I think 11 out of the 14 times, but it did have a little. It did feel a bit special, but yeah, I mean, like we had it was to be fair, it was an epic night. We had Michael Van Gogh in there, Nathan Aspinall, Stephen Bunton. The Players Lounge was basically the strip club, and that's where we took up all the VIPs, and it was like, come on up, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just I remember, because it was always a place that I held. It's like holy ground almost. You sort of think of it.
Like.
And I did get there, and I pulled in, and sort of I nearly missed the turn, and realised I sort of looked at it from the outside, and looked to the petrol station, and looked around, and I thought, oh
yeah,
I almost like I felt like I loved it more before I'd ever been, because it could just exist as this lovely romantic idea.
Yeah, it's like, don't meet your heroes like
Correct.
venues and darts. Like, leave them be.
Here's a question. Are you working Armageddon?
Oh, do you know what? I'm not, and I was going to. I am on air, unfortunately, that week, so I've had to skip that one. Bridgie's doing it though. That's what they told me the other day, because I said, "Oh, I can get there quite late," and they were like, "We got Bridgie on," so I was like, "You'll have fun with Bridgie."
Polly, we know you love Team Wales.
Of course I do.
I told you I was going to do this to you. I told you I was going to do this to you.
Can I just say, right, so Phil, he will either call me out for what I said to Gary Anderson about 1 million years ago, or he'll always be like, you're over friendly with Gezi and Johnny. And I'm like, well, you think you're best friends with Gary Anderson and Michael Van Gerwen. Exactly the same.
It's true. Exactly true. 100%.
Well, yeah, I don't mind it.
The stones that he's throwing here, Polly, he is throwing them very much from his greenhouse. He's launching them out of his greenhouse.
I just wanted to establish that. Okay, you go first.
Oh, yeah. So if you're going to save one of them, who are you saving, Gezi or Johnny?
No.
That's like trying to pick between the husband and the kid. That's hard.
Well, what's the context though when you say save them? Are we talking like keep them in the Premier League or burning building, Phil? How dramatic is this?
Oh, I'll tell you what, this could be interesting. Which one are we going for?
I thought you meant one of them is going to die, and you had to say.
You have a defibrillator. It's got one shot in it.
No, Premier League. You can only save one of them. Which one are you saving?
I would save Gezi because he hasn't won it yet.
Johnny.
Okay.
I think that's very diplomatically handled.
I feel like Johnny would take a hard time and wouldn't tell me off for it, but I feel like Gezi would blank me for like a year if I say.
Tell you what, Barzi, there's a social clip for tomorrow. I'd say Johnny. I'd say Gezi over Johnny. There you go. You've got the clip.
That's handled very well. That picking out the one that hasn't. Let's be fair to everyone. He hasn't won it. Yeah, I think you've handled that.
Yeah. And I was going to say, please don't do any like clickbaity stuff. I know what you like, Phil.
Who was? You're looking at the wrong
headline
people
will be something like Holly leaves Johnny to die in the gutter.
Oh God! Yeah, Tell you what, it's like when Luke Little lost to that Polish bus driver, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Polish Irish bus
God,
driver.
that was
So
funny.
there we go.
And former butcher in the European Championship.
Yes,
Former
that's right. Yes, he
butcher.
is. Yes, the former butcher.
That's what I wish
Yeah.
people should start doing. Anyone he beats as just their former occupation. Just like whoever they are, just their former occupation.
That's a good question, Polly. Being that you are a Welsh girl, have you been to Chippy 501 yet?
Well, yes, I have. If you would watch the Premier League, the Cardiff show last year, we did a little feature in his chippy. And let me tell you, right, he is not just the owner of this chippy. He is front of house. He is flipping the fish. He is making the risotto, whatever you call it. And he is absolutely hands-on in there, like fair play to him. And it is literally like next door to his house. Like I saw someone the other day, like trying to knock on his door, try and get a photo with him or take photos of his car and whatever. But yeah, I have been there and it's really good. And it's really funny because Gezi lives in a place called Markham, which is a real small village in the Welsh Valley, sort of about maybe 40 minutes from where I am now. But it's kind of like it's kind of the big iconic venue in the village. Like it's like it's funny because I feel like his house is so massive and it's just on the side of the hill when you go into Markham. He's basically the king of Markham. It's hilarious. Like
Anthony has joined us.
There he is. Yeah,
There we go.
There he is.
Yeah, Luke Lee,
I've
like
been
beaten by former painter and decorator.
Love to see it.
So the important thing though, Paul, when you go to the chippy, what is your order?
Oh, I'm terrible. I am. I will have you. Do not, because I used to. I don't really use Twitter anymore. But when and I kind of basically work at every single darts event now. But when I'd be watching it, I'd either have a Chinese. My Chinese order, bland as anything. So I'd have chicken balls, plain chow mein, and chips, and obviously the sauce. What else would I have? A couple of prawn crackers. Have I missed anything? Oh, rice. I love rice. But in a chippy, I'd have chips, beans, and mayo, and just chuck the mayo on. Just go, and it's lush. Okay, silence. As a word.
I cannot sanction that. That's
Have you tried it?
I mean, no, I haven't. But there's lots of things I haven't tried because I know that they're a disaster. Like, you know, I've never tried parachuting without a chute, but I know it because I know it's unwise.
I'm saying really quiet here, Paul, because my food orders are not the greatest. So
yeah,
I'm staying very quiet.
Me and you would have a good night out, Jar. Like, let's go to Minehead. Let's finish it off with chips, beans, and mayo. We'll have a great night.
Well, I wouldn't
have chips, beans, or mayo. I'd just have the fish. That'll do me. Or a pasty, as we know from that pasty shop, the goats. Simple as.
Right, so Jar, already next year you're doing Cardiff again, right? Yeah. So you go out afterwards.
No, because Paul, I think I offered you a lift, didn't I, Paul, when you were doing it? Because you weren't there, were you? You weren't in Cardiff. No, it was Abby and everybody else. But yeah, I don't think you were in Cardiff, were you?
Yeah.
Did I see you? I don't remember seeing you in the press room.
I was in Cardiff, yeah. Maybe I didn't really venture in.
No. Well, if you need a lift down to Minehead next year, because Barzi won't bloody do it. So there you go.
Do you know what? I didn't go straight to Minehead because obviously I live just down the road. So I was like, I'll sleep in my own bed. Then I got up pretty early.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Get that. 100%.
But the big question, are you doing Minehead in November?
Yes, I am. Are
you coming to Curry Club on the Thursday night?
Oh.
Well, about Curry Club. Is it you guys? What's the deal?
We have our Curry Club on the Thursday before a Minehead tournament. We've had, I mean, I don't know how many world titles between, we've had different guests come and join us for different. It's not Phil. It's just us. We're not recording anything. We're just having a curry. But we've had some big time celebrities. We've had the current world champion has been along to Curry Club.
I somehow don't think he'll be there this year.
How many Premier Leagues have we had in there? There was one one this year, one last year, maybe 2 last year. Premier League winners. Yeah, it's all good. Curry Club on a Thursday is brilliant.
Well, I'm down for it. If they do Fulmer and Phillips, I'm down.
Mace is always good at Curry Club as well.
Mace is always there.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved working with Mace. I hadn't worked with him before since obviously heading over to the match room, and he's brill. What a laugh.
He's different class, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Here's a question for Marissa Jamie. Given a music background, what would Polly's walk-on song be? Well, it's got to be something Metallica with the shirt that you got on tonight.
Well, no. Do you know what? I don't know on this one, because part of me is like, okay, do I go for something like full-on cheese and party and get picked for the Premier League, or do I go for like something full-on Limp Bizkit style? You know, I don't know.
Oh, I love that.
Do you go for something that sells the party and just, you know, makes the crowd go wild
every year? Get you picked every year.
That makes you feel good, like walking on stage. Do you know? So Ask was at the Circus Tavern, obviously, and then where were we after? Oh, Epsom Racecourse, right? Yeah. So, at the Euro Tour, didn't he? In Germany, he walked out to Eminem, Lose Yourself. So I was like, what's the deal? Are we, like, surely we're not going to lose Mr. Brightside. Like, it's become iconic with you, you know? And he was like, no, do you know what he just wanted? Because, I think it's fair to say, and even he said he wasn't sort of enjoying his darts too much. So he just wanted to do something that made him feel good. And I think, you know, when you're going out and you're going to play for something and there's so much on the line and it needs to hype you up in a certain way, you can't be going out to a song you don't like. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think I'd choose like I don't know, maybe like Limp Bizkit, and we'd have a little mosh pit or something. I don't know. They're my favorite.
Which one though? Which one?
Maybe like Break Stuff.
Break Stuff was what I was hoping for. Break Stuff. That's all I was. You can leave it there. It's fine.
Yeah, you could do Rolling, and then that'd be a bit of a crowd pleaser, fan favorite. I don't know. I
think you're more likely to get the crowd joining in with Rolling and people knowing then singing along than you would with Break Stuff. But yeah, I'll take that. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. So one of those, defo.
I'll tell you what, it has been an absolute pleasure to have Polly. It's been I know we've been trying to sort this out for a while, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on it. It's been an absolute ball, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
I really have. Thank you so much, guys. Do not go clipping up any naughty bits, all right?
We wouldn't do that. That's not us. You know that.
Darts. I don't want to be cancelled by you lot, all right?
I don't have to do any clicking. It's never me. I'm never guilty of that.
Are you working Birmingham, Paul?
I don't know any.
Thank you so much. And also,
are you working?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Are you working Birmingham, mate? Are you in Birmingham for Prem?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I am. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm working there. Yeah, Birmingham on the 14th of May.
Yes. Well, I've got the night off after that. So if you fancy a quick drink somewhere in Birmingham afterwards, we'll happily have a quick drink.
What? Just me and you?
Well, just get anybody out. I don't give a shit. Let's go. See if the whole scene want to go. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, perfect. We'll have chips, beans, and mayo. That would be nice. Or
that'd be lovely.
Lovely. Everyone, the wonderful Miss Polly James. Polly, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
I love that. That was great.
By the way,
can we rearrange this? I'm feeling very uncomfortable with this.
No, there you go.
There we go. I felt a bit seasick there. I was all a bit.
Can I just say this, by the way? We're guaranteed now that he's not going to Minehead. He's not going down there in November. No chance. No chance whatsoever.
Romeo done. I tell you what, that was sensational. Thank you very much to Polly for coming on as always. I love that. That was great.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. And like I say, if you've ever had the privilege of meeting Pole, like you could tell that she knows that, like you say, she's not someone that has always been in darts, and she's just a fan that she says herself, like she's a fan that got lucky, but she works her absolute what's off to make sure that she's becoming more knowledgeable and increasingly a very, very, very good reporter at getting the bits that everybody on stage and everybody in watching the broadcast wants to hear. And, she's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic.
100%. Let's touch on the Premier League and what potentially is going to happen as well, because Gerwyn Price, we saw him, obviously, after he lost, he posted on Instagram that he is struggling with a bad back. He then subsequently pulled out of his exhibition at the weekend, which was a big exhibition as well, then pulled out of the Pro Tours. There has to be some element of doubt for Thursday night, you would think.
Oh, gotta be. Like it's like there's no way that you pull out of all the expos. Like I get that you're pulling out of a Pro Tour. Every top boy seems to be pulling out of Pro Tours at the moment.
Yeah, that doesn't alarm us anymore, does it? That's just
no. But the fact he was in it, does that make sense? He had entered as well.
No. I get that, but people can pull out of Pro Tours. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But the fact you're pulling out of expos, where let's be honest about it, you're earning some decent coin, is worrying. And the biggest expo of the lot is happening in Rotterdam on Thursday night. And look, I don't think you can pull out of every single event yet and still and then not make the playoffs. But I think that the more weeks you have to pull out, the more in danger it is that when you do get back to it, that you will have to make sure you get that W, because if you don't, he's going to be gone. He won't make the O2.
Is it and I could just be thinking out loud here, but this would be what, the third walkover of this?
Yeah.
Is that something that, do you think that this format is perhaps more, I don't know, it doesn't work as soon as you've pulled somebody out, and it loses a lot of what it is because of
100%. Because if it's the old format, you can ask someone to play twice on the night, and then they get a week off down the line, and then that player that misses can then play twice. So it's easy to make the games up.
Yeah,
we've seen it before.
It doesn't work with this format, does it, at all?
No, it doesn't. That's the issue, because it is a knockout tournament on that night. You can't do anything else.
Well, but think about it, though. Think about it from our point of view here for a second. Obviously, Rotterdam will be starting at 6 o'clock on Thursday night. If we only have 3 quarterfinals, we get a 4-lap bar on by 9. So happy days. I don't mind if he has to withdraw. Let's go.
And again, this is just like nonsense Premier League talk, but yeah, I mean, I seriously enjoyed that little spell that we had where we got the contenders in. Like, I thought that was great entertainment. What do we feel about? And I know you're probably just going to both say it's nonsense, but it's an exhibition. Like call-ups, calling somebody up, no points, but to fill that spot in the tournament on the. So, for example, right, you still have a tournament bracket for that evening, right? If Gezzy's not there and he's not there to play that weekend, that Thursday night, then what about phoning up James Wade and giving him an appearance fee and letting him win whatever money he wins on the night, and making sure that everyone that bought a ticket that day gets to see the amount of games that they thought, and they see an 8-man tournament.
But then the only thing, I don't dislike the idea, because I like the fact that people are paid for 7 games in a venue. They should see 7 games on a night. I agree with you. The only issue is then, does there have to be the same player? Because if it isn't the same, but then that makes it unfair, and then quite right.
What I agree, but I would counter that with, well, show me the selection criteria for the Premier League, and I'll have a conversation about fairness with you. If you can tell me how do you know what I mean? Like, that's, I just think it's a bit of what you like, isn't it? Because they are a bit of what you like. So early in the tournament, we might, let's say, someone might have had a good run at the UK Open. So let's give James Wade a go, and then a bit later, and it's somebody else might have done something a bit interesting. So let's give Ryan Searle or Danny Noppert for me. I just think, well, what, and I would. So I know there's an argument that people make where they say, well, what if they take points off a player that say, well, I know you're a Premier League player, beat them then.
But then also as well, thinking about it, going back to the contenders argument, if you have those people that I appreciate you can't make a judgment on one night, but if those people, say for instance, right, well, again, we come back to it, and I'll say it now, obviously, I didn't think that Bunty should have been in particular this year, right? But if you've got people then, and say for instance, his opponents had to withdraw, and Danny Noppert or a James Wade or a Nathan Aspinall or a Gary Anderson or whoever was around in the criteria has a chance to play him, then you can go, well, I should have been in full time. But also those players who don't have that experience that people are saying you need, what we always say, Barzi, with the PDC, having to tick boxes and get that big stage experience. Admittedly, it's only a night. You might only get 6 legs, but you get the experience of playing on a big stage in the Premier League, 100%. which then gets you then that experience and that potential to get onto the World Series stage and getting to that argument before you then get to play in the biggest exhibition of the lot.
It's
maybe it does work.
That is such a good point. Like, I completely agree. I think it's
Personally, for me, the only way that works is if you pick a 9th man and the stand-in guy is the same for all 16 weeks. You pay Danny Noppert X amount of pounds to be on standby every week of the Premier League. James Wade every week of the Premier League. And the reason I say this is I am going to name drop players here because it kind of fits. Right? We could have had James Wade standing in, where did MVG miss? Antwerp.
Glasgow,
right? Glasgow. Okay, James Wade, fucking good player, playing amazingly well. Now, for instance, let's say Gezi pulls out late and the only replacement you can get is Raymond van Barneveld for Rotterdam. There is a very distinct difference in standard between the two. And now, if said player loses out by 2 points because the difference is playing a washed Raymond van Barneveld or a very much top 10 James Wade, that doesn't really sit right with me.
No, I'm with you.
So for me,
if
you're going to do the replacement, you pay the 9th man to be on standby every week. He might not play. He might play 3 weeks.
No, I don't like it. I think that sounds too logical and fair, as if this was a proper tournament. You're like that. It sounds. No, it does. It's like it's like it's too logical and structured and relies upon it's. And again, I just think no, I don't buy it because I just think, well, no, you've had 15 other weeks. Like, yes, you got to play Raymond van Barneveld and he was crap. But then also you've had, an opportunity where your opponent may have averaged, 83. Your opponent might have gone on a 7-week losing streak and everyone thought he was going to set the world alight. So, like, you can't factor any of that. You can't just say, well, he would be brilliant because the 8 that are in have all had, their moments throughout it. And it's a bit random. You can play, if you play Josh Rock in the first 6 nights, you've pissed it. If you play him later in the tournament, that's not fair, is it? Because they got to play the shit version and I have to play the tough version. It don't work. Just call up somebody entertaining and random.
No, but for me, I'm not keen. I think
give them the points. Or give them the point. Give them the walkover points like that. This is the thing. Is it? I'm not. It's not a. It's got nothing to do with the Premier League for me, as in like the league table at the end. So what I would suggest, like this is what I would do, is if Gezi was unable to play this week and couldn't go to Rotterdam, I would award Luke Littler a walkover, and I would give him the 2 points for his walkover. But then I'd make him play somebody. Everyone's bought a ticket to see a match.
Yeah, but I don't know. I suppose if you're going to give him the points, then what is the point of the match? Like
Yeah,
that.
and
That's
also,
my
then
issue.
what happens if he loses that match? Does he go through anyway?
Yeah, well, of course he would do, wouldn't he?
Then it's a pointless match.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
That's
my
the
thing.
problem. I don't think there is a
I know, I agree.
great solution.
Under this format, there isn't an ideal solution. I think it was Great Showman said about Mitchell Lawrie was in Glasgow. He was. However, the issue is, by rules, he can't play on a PDC stage because he's only 15.
Yeah.
So you couldn't put him in anyway due to safeguarding issues, and the general rules is you can't play in a PDC senior tournament until you're 16 years of age.
Should have got Gary on for that night. He'd have loved it. He'd have come down. He'd have driven up from Burnham-on-Sea, wouldn't he?
To be fair, I spoke to Tommy because Tommy was there, and he was like, I had a phone call from Sky on Tuesday. Oh, no, actually, no, he had a phone call from the PDC from asking for Sky. By any chance, is Gary going to be in Glasgow to watch the Premier League, and could we do something with him?
Is he back?
Absolutely not.
You've got more chance of Ray Barnabel coming on as a live guest on this show now than that happening.
There are 127 other tour card holders who are more likely to be there than Gary Anderson. If you want a tour card holder in likeliness, he's number 128.
Yes, absolutely he is. There is no chance. Jesus wept.
The original point, obviously going back to this, is do we think there is a concern that Gezi won't be fit for Thursday?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not his chiropractor, but like I said, it doesn't allow, like Jar said, the withdrawal, on 15 minutes notice on the morning from a Pro Tour event doesn't surprise me with any of the big boys at all. But the fact that he would cancel his exhibitions, that's concerning to me, because they sell. There's a lot of tickets. People haven't often at exhibitions bought tickets because it's the Premier League, or it's they've bought a ticket to see that player. They want to see that player on that stage, and that a lot of these exhibitions, they don't have the 8 top players in the world. They might have 1 or 2. I think it's huge that, and I would suggest that indicates there's a big risk.
Shall we do Premier League predictions while we're here, so we can box off the Premier League? Whilst I get it up, first of all, what was everyone's thoughts of Brighton?
Shit night, shit place. Why do we need to keep going there? It's garbage. It is. I think if you give me shit for Exeter, to be going to back to the Brighton Centre is just woeful.
Surely.
There's electricity, there's internet, it's not freezing cold, there's proper parking, there's proper food.
Hang on, you cannot tell me there's not proper parking at the West Point. You cannot tell me that.
I parked in a field last time I was there.
Yeah.
That sounds like a you problem. There's a load of parking at the West Point.
Yeah, for me, it's
oh, dearie me.
It is surely only on the calendar because we need to have
something in the south of the country.
I just think we need 16 nights, don't we? And there's only 17 arenas in Britain, I think, with a capacity over 5,000. So it by process of elimination, it ends up in there, doesn't it?
Can they not go to Bournemouth? At least that's quite nice.
The bit smaller than Brighton.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's only little, isn't it?
Oh. Then oh dear, we are in trouble, really, aren't we? Do you know what? Yeah. Is there like a sort of indoor arena at the Amex, like there is, at the CBS, at the Ricoh?
No,
is it like not. Well, why did I not think of that? The idiots. That's what it should be. Or do you know what? Just put it on. Just put it on at the Amex. I don't care. Do that. Anywhere apart from that absolute crap heap.
Right. To be fair, as a night, I thought it was okay. It wasn't my favourite. It lacked something, but with the win, are we saying before we look at the results for Rotterdam, with Johnny back on top and winning, are we saying 3 places are done at the O2? Are we shooting for 1 place now?
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, and at the moment, if MVG has another big night in Rotterdam, this playoff race could be done by the time we come back to Liverpool.
It's a boring way for it to go, and nobody wants this to happen. But it will all depend probably on Gezzy's back, because if whilst like at the minute you look at it and you think, well, yeah, 19 points, that's solid. But 19 points isn't as solid if he doesn't pick up any points at all for 2 weeks and everybody else does, especially if you get, a rogue win or, if you get a win from Van Veen and Michael van Gerwen win a week each, then all of a sudden it could be a bit sticky and the pressure could come on a little bit.
The only thing I will say is if Gerwin Price is not fit, and it's still an if, the fixtures in Rotterdam go so favourably for him. Because let's say he doesn't play or he loses, Littler goes through, that's 2 points. Van Veen plays Humphreys. So that means one of them cannot gain on Gezzy.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And then Johnny plays Michael. So again, if Johnny wins, Michael stays below him. If Michael wins, he then Luke Humphreys or Van Veen, the gap is then bigger to Michael. The way the fixtures have gone, they've actually, and unless the final is, I don't know, Van Veen against Rock or Bunting, or Humphreys against Rock and Bunting, the fixtures have been kind for him.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, Buckers is there. Just a thought about this one. Buckers, I'm glad you're watching the show tonight in comparison to what the crap heap that's happening at Old Trafford. Fair play to you on that one, mate, because this has been garbage. On another note, before we go into predictions, as we are going away into Europe, this is a good question from Matthew here. In the not-so-distant future, could you see another European country added to the Prem? Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you exactly where it's going to be.
Poland.
We will... Correcto. We will be going there. We'll be going to Warsaw. Big night. And to be fair, if it means Brighton goes, or if one of Birmingham and Nottingham, or if Manchester and Liverpool, if one of them four go, or Leeds and Sheffield, basically ones that are within an hour of one another, and we go to Poland, no issue. Absolutely no issue.
Yeah, I could see that. But the only thing is cost. It is a lot to ship all the stuff for one night.
I get that. But and especially because you got to fly it. It's not like the Netherlands. You can get a ferry over to Rotterdam, pretty much. And in the same breath, you can probably get a ferry over to Germany and Belgium. To be fair, you can at least drive there at least on the Eurostar. Poland, that's a proper flight. That is a proper flight. No,
to be fair, the PDC trucks will probably drive it and just double driver it and tag team the driving probably.
Yeah, but like I say, I think if the next European country that is on the docket will be Poland.
Oh, yeah, Poland, I think so as well. I think Poland would be the logical next choice.
Would it work to do it the week after Berlin? In order to, from a logistical point of view, because if you've got everything in Berlin
from a logistic point of view, probably. But again, a lot of these venues are booked up 2-3 years in advance. So you have to marry it and make it work.
Oh, yeah, it's long-term future. But, the logistics seem... Well, I know the logistics are far easier getting from Berlin to Warsaw than...
There's a joke there to be made, but I'm not making it.
Yeah, I'll leave that one. Yeah, it's a good idea. Let's go to Poland. Move on. I've bought that one.
what was it? Do you know that Top Gear advert they did for the Volkswagen Golf, where they were like, Volkswagen Golf Berlin to Warsaw in one tank? I was like, yeah, good.
Yeah, I've bottled that. I'm leaving it in the tank.
You really have.
All those jokes will stay within the WhatsApp group.
Correct.
So the quarterfinals in Rotterdam are as follows. Chat room get involved as well. Luke Littler will take on Gerwin Price. Jan van Veen will take on Luke Humphreys. Michael van Gerwen will take on Johnny Clayton. And Stephen Bunting will take on Josh Rock. So let's Well, we're going to go with Gezi is available to play. Note for anyone that is listening back after Monday night, and if he doesn't play, we are doing it on the presumption that he is okay to play.
Okay. He's got to bounce back, hasn't he? The lad, I think
he's
he
finished
will
now,
be.
mate. He's finished, remember?
Yeah, he's finished. Yeah, it's all over, isn't it?
That, so, yeah.
It was nice while it lasted, wasn't it? That short career. No, yeah, I think he'll be fuming about that average last week, and I think he'll dig something out, and I think Gezi will just be, unfortunately, we know that there is an issue in the head-to-head. There's perhaps an issue upstairs. I think it's solid. I think like 6'2", Littler.
Yeah, probably about 6'4", maybe if he's fit to play. Because I think what will happen, like we've seen before, Price will go ahead. He will, like you say, there's a massive problem there in the head-to-head, and Littler will come storming back. But I do worry about what sort of reception he's going to get because of what happened.
I think he's going to get absolutely battered by the Dutch fans.
Correct, I really do.
It's just some drunk lad shouting, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think he'll be fine.
When you've got 10,000 screaming Orange Army at them, and of course we know what the Dutch are like. They love a bit. They're not just a fan of the beer,
They love a whistle and all, don't they? Sometimes.
I was thinking something a lot stronger than that. To be fair.
I was doing Cockney rhyming. No, I think they love it. They do like. I think we'll see some noise. But I just
they might see a bit of Ganger about as well, won't they? Because
I think he's lucky. I think in that first game because yes, he will get some, and he'll get some because of the thing with Jan the other week. But he's not playing Jan or Michael in the first round. He may not play Jan or Michael at all, depending on the result. The rest of the quarterfinal results. So yeah, I don't think it'll be as bad as what some think. And I think if anyone can cope with it, it's probably him. So 6-3.
Yeah, I'm going 6-3. Van Veen against Humphreys.
Van Veen wins 6-4. Move on.
I'm not having it. I'm going to go 6-4 the other way. I think that it's a big game for here. I think there's lots going on. I think there's an awful lot of media coverage. Maybe not where he's out talking, but I think his name is on social media an awful lot. Lots of pictures of him.
I wonder who's done that, eh?
Yeah, it wasn't me.
No.
So, and he's also, he's on home soil. The crowd are going to be massive. The big weight of expectation, and these are often the situations where the very calm, cool hand of Luke Humphreys can just find a bit of a steady rhythm. We know that he's overdue, really overdue a big performance in the Premier League, Luke Humphreys. So I'm going to go 6-4 Humphreys.
I think Humphreys as well. I'm going to go 6-3 Humphreys.
I mean, he's won, what is it, 3 out of the last 10 against him?
Yeah, I just got a feeling. I think Humphreys is due.
All right. Okay.
And I think also the first time that added expectation of him playing in Rotterdam.
I agree. Yeah,
I think will weigh heavy on those shoulders. MVG plays Johnny Clayton in a repeat of the finals.
MVG wins 6-3. Move on. Johnny, because to be fair, actually thinking about it, MVG's record in Rotterdam is not great. Who's calling you now? Who's got the exclusive? Is that TalkSport Darts trying to get you for an interview again? MVG's record in Rotterdam isn't that good, is it? I don't think.
I think it's revenge. I think Michael wins. I think he'll motivate himself in ways that Johnny won't next week. I think Johnny may on 24 points in first place become a bit comfortable. And he may not have the, I'll reference it because of the venue. He may not have the eye of the tiger required.
Oh, fuck off. Don't even think about it, Philip. Don't even think about it. You can fuck off for that.
The eye of the tiger that he's going to need.
Do you not think?
3, 2, 1.
Hi, Jolliffe. Thanks for being in the Barney Army.
The pair of you are absolute see you next Tuesdays. That's all you need to know.
Michael Van Gerwen wins 6-4.
I'm just looking at it. He hasn't won. He hasn't actually won the last 2 years in Rotterdam. I'm trying to work out the last time he actually won a game in Rotterdam.
I'm really torn in this one.
Why? Because you want to pick your boy Michael?
No, I just don't know what version of Michael or Johnny is going to turn up, because they're both brilliant and then they're both ordinary. It's
weirdly enough, the last time that Michael Van Gerwen won a game in Rotterdam was in 2022, which is the last time, I believe, that was one of the only last 2 times that Johnny Clayton was in the Premier League.
I'm going MVG 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, so we've all said the same. So we've all said the same scoreline then. Brilliant. So everybody knows what to do.
Yeah. One near it.
Bunting against Rock.
You know what? Go on, Daniel.
I just think it's so hard because Rock obviously had his struggles and then has looked a lot better. Stephen Bunting is like it's a complete lottery. Like, you simply do not know what you're gonna get from him. Like, managed to beat Michael Van Gerwen 6-3 in Manchester, averaging 10 points less than him, and then managed to sort of pull another reverse the week after. It's confusing, very, very confusing, the form of Stephen Bunting. But I will go Josh Rock.
You dick.
Josh Rock 6-3. I think we get a really good performance from Josh Rock, and I think Bunting's just been up and down, up and down, up and down. Rock looked really solid against Gezi last week. He looked decent against Johnny Clayton. So yeah, Josh Rock wins.
He does, but he wins 6-5.
I'll enjoy that.
Oh,
I'm going 6-5
I won't be
as well,
watching it.
but I'm going 6-5 to Bunting.
Oh, okay. All right. Again, I don't dislike that pick.
So, chat room and you two, I want your winner and who they beat in the final at the Ahoy in Rotterdam. And for a bonus question, which player moans about the breeze first?
Littler.
Is that because he's on first?
Marcus. Yes. That's why. Or no, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a difficult answer. The loser of Littler versus Price on their Instagram will have complaints about the wind. So who have I got? I've got Littler, Van Veen, MVG. No, do you know what? Sod it. I'm going to go with the dream final for Rotterdam. I'm going to go with.
You go Van Veen.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing how they're kept apart on opposite sides of the draw. Stunning, really. But yeah, no, I'll sod it. I'll pick him. I'll pick the two of them. And because the thing is that either Van Veen, this Premier League goes out in the quarter, or he's a runner-up. Literally, he's not had a semi-final loss. He's not had a win in a final. That's all he's ever done. He's lost 6 quarterfinals and runner-up in 4. So I think that Michael Van Gerwen beats Jan van Veen in the final, and he wins 6-4.
You're looking at the table and trying to manifest chaos, aren't you?
What I was actually thinking was that a broken clock's right twice a day, isn't it? And if I say it long enough, sooner or later, I'll be right, because I simply cannot envisage in any way a Premier League campaign doesn't involve Luke Humphries winning a night. That doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't. Like, if somebody had said to you, in February, we'll be having a discussion, we'll be having a discussion like on night 11 as to whether or not Luke Humphries would win a night this year, you'd think the sky had fallen. And therefore, he will at some point. And if I continue to pick him, at some point, I will be correct. And we can snap that little bit out and I'll send it to my mum. And she'll tell me what a good lad I am. Right. Luke Humphries. Do you know what? He's going to fucking ruin them all. Because he's going to beat Jan van Veen in his opening match. He's going to beat Michael Van Gerwen in the final.
I'd just like to point out before I make my prediction that Rob has obviously remembered that I did call this last week, and you all looked at me as if I was
boring. Boring.
I am going for the most unpopular winner of Rotterdam.
Luke Littler.
I am going to Luke Littler to silence the Boo Boys, literally.
I'll enjoy that.
I'll enjoy that. Yeah.
In Rotterdam, I think we're going to turn up with that steeliness in his eyes, where he doesn't give a fuck, and he's think you're having it tonight.
Do you know what? I'd be here for it if he did. Genuinely, yeah. I'd be here for it, because that way then everybody on social media has to cry about it.
Yeah, I'm going Littler to beat Van Gerwen in the final.
I completely forget as well, by the way. This is it. It's not just. Do you know what? Actually, if they have, if the Dutch crowd have any really good things here, you know, the Keir Starmer's a wanker. Littlers, you expect that now. Come on, like
they won't get
it. If that's Luke, right? If that's Luke I'll be expecting that 100%.
I don't think they have wankers in Holland, do they?
No, I don't think so. Although, have I ever told you this story about when I was over in Holland for the cricket for Netherlands England, whereby this is what important, right? So he comes out at the announcers there going like, I've got this message to read to you from the ICC, you know, no racism, no sexism, no slander, and all the rest of it. He then drops a song 4 overs into the game, you know, in the breaks in between the overs while they're changing over. I've got the one word we genuinely can never say. You know, that word comes straight over the PA. Like from the song. I'm like, the Dutch don't understand it. They really don't. So it's funny though. Yeah. And also as well, keep forgetting as well, it's another Euro tour this weekend. And it's a big one. The European Darts Grand Prix, that is a big
in Sindelfingen.
Yep. That's a big one. That's one alongside. Yes. That is one alongside the German Darts Championship that you
care
that's
about.
One you want to win. Yeah. The German Darts Grand Prix.
Good venue as well.
Yeah, 100%. Big one. We'll have it covered, as we always do.
It was a busy week in darts as well. There was quite a substantial rule change passed by the DRA in terms of eligibility. I think most people saw this coming with the IOC's recent rule change. I think most people saw it coming. Surprised of the wording from the DRA, though, in the change. They could have just made it so easy and just gone, we're changing it because of the IOC. Job done.
Yeah, 100%. And that
would have been easier, if I'm being honest.
I don't think... Look, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole here, because I don't know enough about it, and I don't think I should make a real sort of comment either way because it's not my wheelhouse, right? But the big thing here is that if the IOC have come out and said that they are banning trans women from being in sport, then that's what they should do. Because as Rob points out, says in line with the DRA, because that's the line Matt said. Matt's come out and said it for a long time.
But you can't.
Yes, people. Sorry, Daniel, go on, mate.
I understand the logic, and I get everyone's logic about pointing to the IOC, right? And I understand where people are coming from, but you have to remember, right? You have to remember who and what the IOC are, right? So the IOC, they're non-governmental, completely non-governmental. They are essentially a non-profit charity that organise the Olympic Games. They're a promoter. They promote,
a non-profit charity. Are you serious?
They don't make any money, mate. It's all invested.
Do they not? Have you not seen the money that they put in that the TV broadcast deals have done? Yeah.
Well,
nonsense.
Anyway, it's not a, it's so they don't create legislation. There's no reference point. There's no regulate. They are effectively a promoter. The IOC is to the Olympics what the PDC is to darts. And no, they are, but they are. That's what they are. So you can't.
Tell you what.
And the IOC couldn't put a statement out to say, we've made this decision and we've taken this decision because we've seen what the PDC have done. So following the PDC, it don't work like that. So they're not a governing body of this sport. They're not. You couldn't reference them. You couldn't point to that. You could say, we have decided to follow the example of other sports authorities. You could use words to that effect, but you couldn't say we've took this stance because of an IOC decision, because they're not connected.
Look, Warren makes a good point here, right? And like I say, you can have an opinion on whether you think it's right, whether you think it's wrong. The abuse that Noah's got is disgusting, and it is, right? You can have your own opinions on whether on your views on where you sit in the rights of trans women and all that sort of stuff. That is your real wheelhouse. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to comment on it. That's as simple as that. I'm not trying to be sitting on the fence. I don't know enough about it. But here's the deal: is that just because this ruling has come in, doesn't mean you then have to go and be an absolute dick on social media to someone, right? Or protect, sort of stuff like that. Like some of the comments, man. There's a lot, and you know what? It is the usual suspects. It's the blue tick grifters wankers on Twitter or X who have paid for their subscriptions, who have got 400k followers and bots and all the rest of it. That it doesn't need it. The whole world at the moment is in such a deplorable state. We don't need a position where all that does is that it just fans the flames of division completely. And in a world that is massively dangerous at the moment, not just in the sporting sense, but in the world sense as a completely, things like that, all they do is just cause more division. And that's exactly what people want, because that means that they will continue to have the power.
Well,
Sorry, go on, mate.
We've mentioned it a few times, and I think what it does, it does your argument more harm than it does good, because there are some people, and I know there's some folks watching in the chat room that have very, very strong views on it, very strong views, and some of them on both sides have been articulated very, very well over recent years. Hasn't been enough to convince me, to change my views, but some people have articulated things very, very well. And the moment that you stop articulating things and you stop talking about, fairness and science and research and rules and examples from other sports and all that other narrative that you should be sticking to, and you start just calling people names, I think you undermine your argument. You stop making yourself like you can do your own cause harm. And I think repeatedly people have done like good causes harm by dragging themselves. Like, you know, I've had a few, as everybody pretty much knows, like things to say about the world and people on social media and targeting people for different reasons. We did with the in relation to Tourette's recently. Like my daughter's got Tourette's, and that it was a hot topic, and I had to handle a couple of those, or I felt I needed to handle a couple of those situations and say some things and make a few points. And what I told my daughter and my son, who was tempted to have a go as well at it, is that like if you are just trying to argue with idiots on the internet, you'll never run out of them. Like you'll never run out of them. But at the same time, you won't. You don't move your argument forward. You don't do. You know, you going on and calling someone a dickhead because they think something different to you. You've literally dropped to their level, haven't you? You've pulled yourself down, and I think there are some idiots that just think that either the anonymity, or some of them don't want the anonymity. They just want they want the swag for it. It's just sitting at home in their mum's back bedroom calling people names on the internet is like an acceptable way to spend time, and it's just I mean, well, I find it pathetic. If it didn't upset people, if it didn't genuinely upset people and cause people real trouble, it'd be easier to look upon it as just patheticness. But it's difficult because the people that I consider to be pathetic, and I feel a bit embarrassed for them, and a bit like sometimes I just feel a bit sorry for them. But at the same time, they're doing people a lot of harm and damage as well. So it's difficult to then, you know, ridicule.
Just one final thing on this, mate, and that's a wonderful way that, as always, as you articulate your position around, especially around the Tourette's situation. I you know me, mate. I've always fully applauded you and your daughter as well. But this is just crept in, and I don't want to go down the political route. You know me, I don't do this shit. But we've seen it in politics, isn't it? We've seen it. You just calling someone that thinks differently to you a complete fucking moron doesn't work. And all it does is it shifts people further away from the point of view that you want them to have. I mean, you look at Brexit, you look at, you know, Trump being in the White House, you look at loads of different things. Everyone's going like, you know, especially the first time round, oh, no one really wants to leave the EU. Well, they clearly do. Oh, Clinton, I'm with her. No, Trump. Loads of people want to vote for Trump because, and the worst part is like, you look at it and say, just because in this scenario, if you think that trans women are acceptable to be in sport, then you are a liberal lefty who doesn't have a fucking clue about the real world, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't think that trans women deserve to be in sport, you are a right-wing nonsense, non-progressive, you're a disgrace.
Fascist.
Yeah, fascist, you're a Nazi, you're all that sort of shit. And like all that does is that, especially nowadays with social media, is that all it does is that everybody reads stuff and everybody follows people that they agree with, and we don't get anywhere. Like we need, regardless of where you sit on this issue, talk to people normally, like you would do in a street or in a coffee shop or wherever, or in a pub, that think differently to you. And then we as a society can get better, because all it does is that it fans the flames of division, and it fans the flames for more war. So get on with it.
Oh, I see what we've gone deep in the politics today.
Yeah, we fucking have. Sorry, mate. It really pissed me off at the weekend.
But it's interesting. I think, and there's a lot of views as well. Like there are people, you know, I know they're in the chat room. I know they're there, like, and they've committed a lot of effort and time into doing things the right way, and to try and put their point across in a way that's coherent and backed with research and lots of other things. Yeah. But like, you know, like, well, I don't know. I'm probably going to go over old ground, but I think there's just not enough people that are able to hold more than one thought in their head at once. Like, you know, like, so the other week, I think it might have been at mine head. It might have been you I said it to.
It was. I remember this conversation.
Often I see somebody with let's say with a t-shirt on, right? And I'll see that t-shirt and I'll think, oh, do you know what? now that I've saw that T-shirt, I know your view on one subject. I now know your view on every single hot topic in the entire. We make a big list of every single thing you can have an opinion on. I know your opinion on that, and I think it's madness. Like, there's got to be some nuance where sometimes you can think, well, I agree with those people about that, and I agree with those people about that, and I think that this binary, like, you have to be the, oh Christ, there's a word you can't use. So, good that one, it that was good.
Yeah, very good. Well done, mate.
So, yeah, this, you know, like, but I just think there's got to be some nuance. You know, it will. There are people, of course, and I also think there's different views need to be taken on it in different sports. There is obviously a view on darts, and a lot of that is about the, you know, the fairness, the fairness of competition. And it's not as much, in my opinion, you know, it's not as much as a hot topic as when we see it in things like boxing and when we see it in things like mixed martial arts, where we've got to have, you know, really detailed conversations about bone density and things like, you know, that's when it becomes really complicated. But the decision's the decision, and I don't think anybody in the world is surprised by the decision. There might be people out there that don't like it, but if they claim to be surprised by it, then I will consider them to be slightly foolish and slightly misinformed about the, you know, the trajectory that the world is heading on. It was always
the one thing. I was just going to say one final thing, mate, before we move on, because I'm even bored of talking this.
I've got something bigger to bring up on this.
Okay.
Well,
Women's World Match Play. Women's World Match Play? Yeah. Doing it in the middle of the season while we're talking about the Women's World Match Play, that's not right, in my opinion. You could the arguments and all the rest of it, but we always said it, Barzy, and we called the WDF out on it, and we'll call the PDC out on it as well, to change the criteria for the Women's World Match Play when someone in particular is in those qualifying spots is not right.
I will be interested to see, and to be fair, it's not in the. Is it the? It's probably they follow the DRA, when the PDC are governed by the DRA technically. So I'm guessing this would be against the DRA at a guess. Now, I get there's no perfect, because of the way the women's qualifying criteria runs for 3 different tournaments. Yeah, it's tough to have a clean break because the qualifying for the match play starts straight after the match play.
There's never a good time.
The World Championship and Grand Slam doesn't start until the start of the year. So there's no easy break in this.
There's never a good time.
No, I agree. And I think
it's just what it is. Like, it's always going to be unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, but I would be interested to see if Noah Lynn pushes this further, because she has qualified for the Women's World Match Play under the criteria that she was set. Now, that has been changed, and she still has qualified for that tournament. So I would be interested if there is a case for potential loss of earnings against the DRA, because when she's qualified, she was eligible to play. So I would be interested to see if that. I'm guessing if they left it and they did this before the world, and say Noah had qualified for the World Championships, the potential loss of earnings claim could be a lot bigger than the Women's World Match Play and the Grand Slam. So I don't know if that has had a bearing, but I'm interested to see if this is for that reason, because she has already qualified on the old criteria.
Just to say, by the way, Paul, look, I'm not going down the road about obviously what happened with D2 and Noah. That is not what I'm talking about here. With the comment that you made around the fact the science that's been there for nearly 20 years, that particular person, Dr. Emma Hilton, is on the board of trustees for Sex Matters, which is a bias. Obviously, she has a bias about that sort of stuff. Like, that's why I think that personally the DRA were wrong to try and say that they were going to ban it off of that report, because there is a bias there.
I don't truly believe in that science either, because.
But just going back to it, if with the IOC ruling it was going to happen, The DRA didn't need to try and become like
100%,
that.
because they didn't need to go down that route. Agreed. Because I would like to see the same science to see if it's applied in another 20 years because of the way youth darts is now through the JDC academies and so on, where boys and girls are going down the same path. The career trajectories are the same. Where is it in 20 years? If it's still the same, then I've got no problem. But I just think the way that science is done at the moment, it's on a pool of players that is being affected by things that have happened before. I want to see this done on like the youth players that are playing today going down that same trajectory path where they're all playing together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. With you entirely. 100%.
But look, it'll be interesting. But I'm interested to see if Noah does take it further in terms of loss of earnings because she qualified under old criteria.
What's the remind me of the first round losers money?
That's a shout. Hang on a minute. By the way, I think this is a new record. We're 1 hour 50 minutes into a show on a day that a certain Newcastle man won a Pro Tour, and Daniel's not been talking about it whatsoever.
Don't get me started.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Right, 1,250 quid.
Yeah.
Somebody just fucking right to check that. Someone will just whack. I mean, let's be honest, right? Runners up money's $5,000. Like that is go away money, that isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. If you're
big picture,
you just get rid of it and just give it to her.
$5,000 is runner up money, and let's say, look, you might have tipped up there and got 1,250 quid. You might have tipped up there and won 10. Like, let's call it halfway through. Like, there's five. There's $5,000.
Yeah.
Sign that. Don't mention it again. Don't talk to Phil Bars
Happy
about
days.
it.
Oh, out you go. Yep, totally right. There'll be hush. There could be hush money involved, but fair enough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Dan, do you want to bring up Chris Davies' win today? Then now we're here.
I thought it was absolutely magnificent. The Newcastle City Council have stuck the open top bus through an MOT. They didn't obviously take it out. They thought it wasn't coming out this year with Newcastle United not having the best of seasons, but yeah, they're sticking the open top bus through its MOT because it is looking like another positive year. I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest, when at the end of that, realizing that he's still like 40 grand off the top of the Pro Tour order of merit, which seems absurd. Like that seems a little bit unfair, doesn't it? To have played so well, to have won 2 events and still be 40 grand off the top of the Pro Tour. But yeah, absolutely superb. Like it was really, really top end stuff as well. Over 105 average in the final. There are a few players that deserve a shout out today, but Chris Dobie obviously won it. Like monster average in the final, massive average, 103.5 in the semi-final against Andrew Gilding. He was just top draw like all day. Repeatedly played really well. Over 104 average in the last 16 against Luke Woodhouse, which is a tough game on the floor. But yeah, like a hugely impressive day from Dobie. Really, really good. But massive shout out, I suppose, as well. Justin Hood making a final averaging 103. Like that's pretty good going. Connor Scott making a semi-final. I think we've all said for a little while that that Connor's got a deep run and a win in him this year if he can find some form. So really good to see him get to the semi-final. Tom Sykes in a quarter-final. Tom Bissell in a quarter-final as well. Bo Greaves in a quarter-final. Quarter-final lineup I thought was superb. Like for me, like if you think like Dan Simpson personally, what do I want to see in a quarter final of a Pro Tour? Well, ideally, I'd like to see Chris Dobie averaging 105. But can I also see can I have Connor Scott and Tom Sykes and Bo Greaves and Justin Hood, and can I get can we have an interesting run from Mencia Suljovic as well, please, today? And can we have a bit of? I just thought it was great, like really good day of darts. I managed to follow along while I was DIYing today. It made for good background noise while I was paneling. So yeah, top day all around, really.
Andrew Gilding's now in the green. He's in that 16th spot. Great day for him. Sedlacek Hybrex just outside. Cameron Menzies picked up 3 rounds worth of money, which he needed because he was in free for all. He's still in 15th. He still needs to improve. The European is going to be huge for these players in the race to play.
Sorry, saying Veets just had a great day. Another quarterfinal for him is putting right in the mix. I'm not saying he's there, but he's right in the mix, 100%. Looking at it as well, big day for, like you say, Connor Scott and Justin Hood. Hood's he's still got a fair bit of work to do, but he's not far. He's not miles away.
He's proving. I think the important thing for Justin Hood is to continue to prove that what we saw with that World Championship quarterfinal wasn't. It wasn't random. Since then we saw, immediately after that, he went out prelim stage of the World Masters. We've seen a lot of 2 Euro Tour events. He's really underwhelmed in this year. We've seen a lot of first round exits on the Pro Tour so far this year. Like, he hasn't backed that up so far. So this could be a sign that things are starting to really, really fall into place for Justin.
No, 100%. It's been very, very good for him. And remember, the Pro Tour returns tomorrow. Players Championship 10. Looking forward to that. Then we've got a Euro Tour qualifier, Rotterdam, Euro Tour. It's a busy time, isn't it?
Or anywhere, Liverpool or
like.
Love that. I don't think we've missed anything in a week of darts, have we?
Nah. Probably have, but those are the big talking points. So, is what it is. But no, good fun as always. Who's winning tomorrow? Gary.
He's not there, so he ain't winning.
Toby.
Who's there? Who's there today? Bo Greaves. Why not? Bo wins their first Pro Tour.
Yeah. PDC cross-border challenge coming up next weekend, which will be very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to cross-border. As always, as we go to Canada for the first time.
Exciting.
Yeah, 100%. And again, the growth of the CDC, the players that aren't there, is credit to the tour. The ones that have got there and the ones that aren't there is a massive, massive thing, which is cool. But yeah, like I say, plenty coming up. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got more interviews dropping this week as well, which is good. So stay tuned for them. So looking forward to editing them tonight once we're done here and getting those up. If you haven't yet, plenty of good content on our channel. So head over and have a watch. But other than that, boys, it's been a really, really good show. Thank you very much to Polly for joining us as always. Another top guest, which was superb. I'm not going to lie, I haven't sorted anything out for next week, so that is on my case.
Can we get the littlers on? Do you reckon we get the littlers on next week?
We can't throw that one away. That's
definitely on. Also, someone else messaged me during the show saying loved Polly, and I was like, "Do you want to come on?" They said absolutely.
Oh, don't tease us like that, Philip.
The wording was there if you picked up on it.
No, went over my head.
No, tell us afterwards.
They said
afterwards.
Pass.
Didn't work. Didn't use he said like most art players are.
They said them.
Yeah. Oh, Emma. Oh, that's a big one.
Well, he didn't say she, did he? I thought he was being all like.
I thought he was being very, very woke.
I was thinking. Well, wait. I was thinking to somebody they them in darts.
I was thinking you were very woke there.
Christ, you've sent me fucking woke now, Philip.
But no,
we thought it would be Phil Bars that sends me woke.
No, 100% not.
Send them over the top. But no, we are going to get the Littlers on as well, which will be good live lands with the Littlers coming soon. Fingers crossed.
I think that needs to be, but that needs to be. I mean, it needs to be live. It might need to be. We might need to be in the same room there. We might need to find a venue. We're find anybody know a pub in Warrington?
Or I don't know if the Littlers are watching. I know they've just recently moved house. Have you got a room and we'll bring the cameras up?
Oh yes, 100%. We'll do that. 100%.
From what I've heard, I'll be bringing me swimming shorts. Never mind.
Hang on. There we go. Here we go. I tell you what we could do. Here's one for them. It depends on obviously what happens in the Premier League final, but episode 250. What do you reckon?
Episode 250. What are we on now?
We get up to Warrington with the live cameras and do a special.
7 weeks time. 7 weeks time is episode 250, isn't it? That'd be a cool way to celebrate 250 shows.
Just a thought. Anyway, we're doing an on-air management meeting.
I like this. It gives us plenty.
Yeah, we are on the on-air management meeting that we probably shouldn't be doing live on the show.
Everyone, thank you so much. This will be available as an audio only in the morning from wherever you get your podcast from. So thank you so much. But we have been Online Darts. I've been Phil Bars, Dan Simpson, Charlie Thea, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.